There's a quiet magic in the way a fire glows in the darkness, a gentle warmth that seeps into the bones and softens the edges of the world. Even in the most ancient times, humans have been drawn to this same flickering light, marveling at its ability to both create life and consume it. Fire is more than warmth or light. It is the first element we learn to tame, and yet, despite our mastery, it always carries a hint of mystery, a reminder that we are but small observers of a far greater force. Just as fire dances and crackles in the hearth, the sky stretches endlessly above, filled with stars, streaking comets, and distant suns that ignite the imagination. These two elements, the fire that comforts and the sky that awes, have been inseparably linked in human storytelling for millennia. They are the first sparks of our imagination, the eternal partners in the myths we whisper to ourselves when night falls. From the earliest flickers of human memory, fire and sky have inspired wonder and contemplation. Ancient peoples gazed at the night, tracing constellations that mirrored their own lives, while sacred flames illuminated their temples and homes. The very act of tending a fire became a ritual, a bridge between earth and sky, between the mortal and the divine. In these simple acts, we begin to see the duality that recurs in every myth. The tangible versus the intangible, the known versus the unknown, the warmth that can be held in one hand, and the cosmic fire that stretches across eternity. It is in this space that imagination thrives, where stories take root, and where human curiosity begins to weave the first threads of legend. As we embark on this journey through the ancient myths of fire and sky, we will explore both the light that reveals and the darkness that conceals. We will wander through stories passed down across continents, each one a delicate thread connecting humanity to the elements. Some tales are familiar, retold countless times, while others have been whispered almost silently through generations, surviving in fragments, like embers waiting to ignite once more. Together, these myths form a tapestry of human thought and emotion, a reflection of our deepest fears, our brightest hopes, and the ever-present longing to understand the world beyond ourselves. There is a softness in the night that encourages reflection, and it is here, in this gentle quiet, that the stories of fire and sky find their perfect home. Listen as we move slowly through each myth, giving space for the imagination to drift, for curiosity to awaken, and for the mind to settle. Unlike tales designed to startle or excite, this exploration is meant to soothe and intrigue, to carry listeners along a calm river of history and mystery. In the warmth of these stories, the crackle of imaginary flames, and the distant glimmer of celestial fire, we discover the enduring human fascination with the elements. The connection between fire and sky is more than metaphor. It is a reflection of our earliest attempts to make sense of the world. Fire represents life, sustenance, and protection, yet it is unpredictable and dangerous. The sky, in contrast, embodies vastness, constancy, and the unknowable, yet can surprise with sudden flashes of meteors, lightning, or auroras. Ancient cultures sensed these forces, and in their attempts to explain, they created beings, deities, and myths that breathed life into the elements. In retelling these myths, we are not merely recounting stories. We are peering into the minds of our ancestors, feeling their awe, their caution, and their unending curiosity. Tonight, we invite you to enter a space of calm contemplation, where myths unfold slowly, allowing the imagination to wander freely, like sparks rising from a hearth into the cool night air. With every story, you may feel the comforting warmth of fire in your chest, the mysterious glow of distant stars in your mind, and the gentle pull of curiosity that has always driven humanity to look up and ask, what lies beyond? These myths, old as time itself, offer not only knowledge but also a kind of quiet meditation, perfect for easing into rest. In this introduction, we have only begun to touch the surface of the rich, intertwined tales of fire and sky. From the first sparks of humanity's curiosity to the celestial flames that illuminate myths across continents. These stories remind us of both our fragility and our enduring wonder. As the night deepens, we will drift further into these ancient imaginings, guided by the duality of warmth and mystery, light and shadow, fact and the secrets that history has left behind. By the time the last embers fade and the stars overhead continue their silent dance, we hope to have carried you gently through a landscape of imagination, reflection, and quiet awe, ready to continue on the path through fire, sky, and the timeless stories that connect them. Long before cities rose and written language preserved stories in ink, humans sat around flickering fires, their eyes reflecting the dancing flames, hearts stirred by warmth and light, and minds wandering toward questions no one could yet answer. Fire, in its unpredictable brilliance, was both a gift and a threat. It could protect against the cold, cook food, and gather communities together, yet it could also devour homes, forests, and everything in its path. It is no wonder, then, that fire became a central element in the earliest myths, a symbol both sacred and dangerous, a force so potent that every culture sought to explain its origin, its nature, and its meaning. These ancient stories were more than entertainment. They were attempts to understand the very spark of life itself, and through them, we glimpse the earliest human fascination with both creation and destruction. In Greek mythology, Prometheus stands as a timeless figure, a firebringer whose story is known around the world. According to the myth, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity, an act of profound compassion and daring defiance. The fire he brought was more than mere flame. It was knowledge, progress, and survival. Yet, it was also a symbol of the delicate balance between gift and consequence. Prometheus suffered for his daring, bound to a rock with an eagle devouring his liver daily, a reminder of the costs that sometimes accompany enlightenment. Even as we recount this tale softly, with careful pacing for the mind at rest, the underlying tension remains. The power to shape the world carries with it responsibility and risk. Across the world, similar threads appear in the myths of indigenous peoples of the Americas. Among the Cherokee, fire was brought by the dog, a loyal companion, who retrieved it from a distant, perilous source to warm and sustain the human community. The Hopi, Navajo, and other tribes describe sacred flames gifted or discovered through acts of bravery, cleverness, and devotion to higher powers. Each story reflects the recognition that fire is not a simple element, but a bridge between humanity and the forces that govern life and nature. There is a gentle rhythm in these myths, a lullaby-like cadence that teaches caution and respect, while also inspiring admiration for the cleverness and courage required to harness such a potent force. In the myths of Asia, fire often takes on a divine and transformative role. Hindu mythology speaks of Agni, the god of fire, who acts as a mediator between humans and the divine. Agni consumes offerings, carries prayers to the gods, and embodies both destruction and purification. The Chinese myth of the immortal Xuanwu and the phoenix intertwines fire with cosmic balance, renewal, and the eternal cycles of life and death. Even in distant Japan, the flame becomes an expression of reverence, illuminating sacred rituals and symbolizing the interconnectedness of Earth, humans, and the heavens above. In each of these stories, fire is not simply an object to be tamed. It is alive, a conscious presence that demands acknowledgement and respect, yet offers warmth, insight, and guidance to those who approach it with humility. The symbolic duality of fire, both creator and destroyer, resonates across continents and centuries. In early African myths, fire is often discovered accidentally or gifted by cunning animals or gods, emphasizing that knowledge and survival are intertwined with risk. The San people of southern Africa, for example, tell of fire emerging from a secret place and being carried to humanity, a treasure to be protected and revered. In Polynesian myths, fire is brought to humans by demigods and tricksters, creatures who teach the delicate dance between curiosity and caution. These tales share a common thread. Fire is a precious, almost sacred, force that illuminates life, yet remains tantalizingly beyond full control. It is striking how often these myths blur the lines between history, philosophy, and imagination. The first sparks of fire were literal, discovered and tamed through trial, error, and observation. Yet the myths elevate these discoveries into realms of moral, spiritual, and cosmic significance. They provide a framework for understanding human ambition, ingenuity, and humility in the face of nature's power. Each story allows listeners, both ancient and modern, to feel the warmth of the flames and the thrill of discovery, while also sensing the shadows lurking beyond, where danger and uncertainty always lie. Fire's role in early human storytelling also reflects its social importance. Around the hearth, communities gathered to share tales, preserve knowledge, and instill values. Fire was the center of human experience, illuminating faces, casting shadows on cave walls, and inspiring art, song, and myth. The flames themselves became storytellers, moving and changing, hinting at shapes and forms that sparked imagination. In this way, fire was both medium and message, a living, breathing element that narrated its own story, while also providing the setting for human myths to flourish. As we gently drift through these ancient tales, one theme emerges again and again. Fire is a bridge. It connects humans to the divine, the known to the unknown, warmth to awe, and mortality to eternity. Through fire myths, we begin to understand that ancient peoples saw themselves as part of a greater world, one in which every flicker and spark carries meaning. By contemplating these stories softly, letting the words flow slowly into the mind, we can sense the reverence, the caution, and the quiet curiosity that guided early human civilizations. Tonight, as we explore these myths, imagine the first humans huddled close to their flickering hearths, staring into the darkness, feeling the dance of heat and shadow, wondering at the world around them. Imagine the same questions that rise in our modern minds, the curiosity, the fear, the awe, whispered millennia ago, preserved in the cadence of myth and memory. Fire becomes more than a physical phenomenon. It is a symbol of our enduring desire to illuminate the unknown, to reach beyond ourselves, and to carry forward the light of knowledge. Through this exploration, we will continue to trace the delicate, intertwined threads of fire and sky, the earthly and the celestial, the warmth in our hands and the stars overhead. We begin with these first sparks, these gentle, luminous tales of creation and courage, as an invitation to slow the mind, to settle into the comfort of story, and to let the imagination wander, carried softly on the currents of history and legend. Each flicker, each story, is a reminder that even in darkness, there is light, warmth, and a path forward. A lesson as true today as it was in the earliest fires of our ancestors. As fire warms the hearth below, so too does the sky above glow with fires of another kind, celestial flames that have fascinated humanity for millennia. Stars, suns, comets, and meteors have been more than points of light. They have been living, breathing symbols in countless myths, embodiments of divine will and cosmic order. Across the world, ancient peoples looked up at these luminous bodies and saw not just beauty, but purpose. Each flicker of starlight was a story, a lesson, a message whispered from the heavens, waiting for those patient enough to notice. The duality of fire on earth and fire in the sky creates a delicate interplay between intimacy and vastness, between what can be held in the hand and what stretches across the infinite. It is this contrast that has inspired generations of myths, and it is here, beneath the soft glow of imagined constellations, that our journey into celestial fire begins. In Egyptian mythology, the sun god Ra embodies the ultimate cosmic flame. Each day, Ra journeys across the sky in his solar bark, bringing light, life, and order to the world below. As he travels, he faces dangers, from chaotic serpents to the shadow of night itself. Yet his flame never diminishes. Ra's fire is a constant, a sustaining presence, representing creation, authority, and the eternal cycle of day and night. In retelling this myth gently, we sense the awe of ancient observers who watched the sunrise and sunset with quiet reverence, aware that the same fire that warmed their hearths was reflected, magnified, and immortalized in the sun above. The contrast between earthly fire and Ra's blazing journey illuminates a human longing to understand the cosmos, to see patterns and meaning in light that cannot be held but can inspire wonder. Moving eastward, the solar deity Surya in Hindu mythology carries the celestial flame across the sky each morning in a golden chariot drawn by 7 fiery horses. Surya's fire is both life-giving and purifying, a symbol of vitality and divine energy. People would greet the dawn with prayers, bathing in the sun's light to absorb its blessings and protection. The fiery horses, moving swiftly across the heavens, are imagined as living embodiments of energy and motion, reflecting human attempts to capture the intangible with imagination. Here, as in Egypt, we see a pattern. The sky is not a distant void, but a canvas upon which myths paint lessons, hopes, and divine presences, merging cosmic phenomena with human understanding. In Japan, Amaterasu, the sun goddess, embodies light, warmth, and the life-giving aspects of celestial fire. Her retreat into a cave brought darkness to the world, while her eventual return restored balance. The Japanese myth teaches that fire and light are not merely physical realities. They are expressions of cosmic harmony, of balance restored after chaos, and of the careful interplay between visibility and mystery. Even as we recount this tale in a calm, bedtime-friendly voice, the drama of withdrawal and return offers a subtle contrast. Darkness versus light, absence versus presence, concealment versus revelation. Beyond the familiar, many lesser-known cultures have equally profound interpretations of cosmic flames. In Mesoamerican traditions, the sun is a god who requires offerings and attention, whose movements across the sky are tied to cycles of agriculture, life, and sacrifice. Meteors were often seen as fiery messengers, sudden streaks of divine warning or blessing that connected the heavens with human affairs. In Norse mythology, the sky itself can be fiery in the form of Thor's lightning and the fire giants of Muspelheim, whose eventual role in Ragnarok signals both destruction and rebirth. These myths, though separated by geography, echo similar truths. Humans see fire in the sky as alive, purposeful, and deeply entwined with human destiny. What emerges from these stories is an extraordinary human impulse: the need to personify the cosmos, to give light and fire a voice, a will, and a personality. The flames in the sky are not distant, indifferent phenomena. They are participants in the grand narrative of life. They illuminate, threaten, guide, and teach. Ancient peoples, lacking telescopes and precise scientific instruments, relied on observation, imagination, and storytelling to interpret these distant fires. In doing so, they created myths that were at once explanations of natural phenomena and reflections of human emotion, ambition, and morality. The quiet tension between awe and intimacy, between the warmth of a hearth and the brilliance of a star, forms a subtle thread connecting all these stories, gently pulling listeners into a contemplative, sleep-friendly state of wonder. It is important to notice the interplay between permanence and ephemerality in these myths. The stars appear eternal, yet they flicker and fade. The sun rises daily, yet the light of day is fleeting. Myths capture this duality, offering comfort that the fire in the sky is reliable, while also instilling a sense of humility before forces larger than ourselves. By contrasting these celestial fires with the tangible warmth of earthly flames, listeners can feel both closeness and distance, an intimate curiosity about phenomena that are vast, ancient, and mysterious. The rhythm of these contrasts mirrors the pacing of the human mind, moments of quiet reflection punctuated by awe, curiosity tempered by gentle comprehension. As we drift further into these cosmic tales, imagine yourself lying under a canopy of stars, each one a tiny flame reflecting an ancient story. Perhaps you see Ra's solar bark gliding across the horizon, or Surya's fiery horses racing through the morning sky. Perhaps the quiet wisdom of Amaterasu's return brings you reassurance, reminding you that light follows darkness and warmth follows cold. These images, softly narrated, allow the mind to wander across continents and centuries, connecting human observation with imagination. Every streak of light, every imagined deity, every fire in the heavens mirrors the sparks we once held in our hands around a hearth, revealing the intimate connection between the terrestrial and the celestial. By exploring these myths, we begin to recognize the universality of human fascination with fire in the sky. Despite differences in culture, geography, and time, the stories share patterns: flames as divine presence, light as life-giving force, and celestial fire as a mirror of human curiosity and ambition. These narratives gently draw us into a meditative state, encouraging quiet reflection and the soft rhythm of storytelling that soothes the mind. Even as the myths speak of gods and cosmic battles, they do so in a way that honors human wonder, providing both awe and comfort, a balance between mystery and understanding that is ideal for bedtime contemplation. As this section concludes, we have traced the journey from the warmth of the hearth to the brilliance of the sky, moving gently across continents, cultures, and centuries. The celestial flames, observed and imagined by countless generations, have inspired stories that illuminate both the external world and the human heart. They teach us that the sky, like fire on earth, is not merely a backdrop, but an active participant in the tapestry of myth. And as we prepare to move deeper into the stories that link earthbound flames with cosmic light, we carry with us a sense of awe and calm, a quiet curiosity that stirs gently, inviting the imagination to drift upward alongside these ancient celestial watchers. Between the warmth of a hearth and the brilliance of the sky lies a space both intimate and infinite, a quiet place where human imagination has long dwelled. Fire, whether kindled in stone or carried in sacred vessels, is tangible and immediate. The flames lick the air with gentle movement, casting shadows that dance along walls and faces. The sky, in contrast, is distant, immense, and unknowable, its lights appearing eternal yet untouchable. Ancient peoples instinctively sought to bridge this distance, to find meaning in the relationship between the fires they could control and the lights that existed far beyond their reach. In this space between earth and sky, myths began to take shape, reflecting the human desire to connect with forces larger than themselves while remaining grounded in the familiar. Many cultures imagined fire as a living essence that flowed between the heavens and the earth. The glow of the hearth was not simply warmth. It was a spark of divine or cosmic energy, a small piece of the greater fires that burn in the sky. In African and Native American traditions, stories often describe fire descending from celestial realms or being gifted by trickster figures, linking the two realms in a delicate narrative thread. The fire humans held in their hands became a mirror of the celestial fire above, a tangible reminder that the same energy that warms the home also powers the sun and stars. Through these stories, listeners sense a quiet harmony, the rhythm of myth reflecting the balance between tangible experience and cosmic mystery. This bridging of earth and sky also reflects human emotion and imagination. Fire in the hearth can stir courage, community, and introspection, while fire in the sky evokes awe, wonder, and even fear. Ancient storytellers recognized these dualities, weaving narratives that linked the warmth of familiarity with the majesty of the unknown. As myths describe fire traveling from the heavens to the hands of humans, they invite reflection on human potential and limitations, curiosity and caution. In this gentle exploration, Listeners are encouraged to feel the pulse of these connections, to understand that myths often serve as guides, showing the ways humans have sought to harmonize with the natural world. Across cultures, the bridge between hearth and sky manifests in rituals and practices as well as stories. In Hindu temples, the sacred flame mirrors the eternal fires of the sun, its flicker a sign of divine presence. In Celtic traditions, communal fires celebrate seasonal changes, invoking solar and cosmic cycles that extend far beyond human perception. Even the smallest candle, lit in quiet remembrance or meditation, is part of this continuum, a way for humans to participate in the cosmic rhythm. These rituals, subtle yet profound, remind listeners that the boundary between earthly and celestial fire is permeable, and that the act of tending a flame can be a meditation on both the inner and outer worlds. In retelling these myths, it is important to notice the gentle contrast they draw. Fire is both nurturing and dangerous, earthbound yet reflective of the heavens. The sky is vast and distant, yet its fires feel intimately connected to the human heart. Ancient people understood that light and warmth, whether on the hearth or in the cosmos, are not merely physical phenomena, but carriers of meaning, emotion, and spiritual resonance. They invite contemplation, drawing the mind upward and inward simultaneously, cultivating a reflective state that is both soothing and intellectually engaging. As listeners settle into the calm cadence of story, this section encourages a meditative pause. Imagine the warmth of a small flame in your hands, flickering against the darkness, while above, stars shine with steady brilliance. The two are bound by myth, imagination, and the human longing to comprehend forces beyond immediate experience. In Bridging Earth and Sky, we touch both the comfort of the familiar and the awe of the infinite, the tangible and the mysterious. It is in this quiet space that fire becomes more than heat and sky more than distance. They become mirrors of one another, reflecting human curiosity and the desire to understand life's luminous patterns. By exploring these connections gently, the mind is invited to drift, absorbing the beauty of the myths while feeling the calm rhythm of narrative. The fire within, both literal and metaphorical, illuminates the path between hearth and cosmos, between the known and the unknown, and between thought and wonder. This section sets the stage for the next journey. The stories of firebringers, the daring figures who carried flames across worlds, human and divine, leaving trails of warmth, light, and legend. Throughout human history, the myth of the firebringer appears time and again, a gentle yet compelling reminder of humanity's fascination with flames that illuminate, transform, and endure. These stories often center on figures who act boldly, cunningly, or even rebelliously to deliver fire to humankind, bridging the gap between the mortal and the divine. In some myths, the firebringer is a god, while in others is a trickster or clever mortal who defies the limits set by higher powers. What unites these tales is the recognition that fire, a simple element on one hand, carries profound consequences on the other, a duality mirrored in the careful pacing and quiet reflection that these myths inspire. By retelling them gently, we invite the listener to sense the thrill of discovery, the warmth of creativity, and the cautionary undertones embedded in these narratives. The Greek story of Prometheus is perhaps the most well-known of these myths. Prometheus, whose name evokes foresight, is said to have stolen fire from the gods and brought it down to humanity, granting warmth, light, and the ability to transform the world. His act was both an offering and a rebellion, a daring gift that altered the balance between mortals and immortals. Yet this gift came at a cost. Prometheus was bound to a rock, his liver consumed daily by an eagle, enduring unending punishment for his defiance. In recounting this tale softly, the listener senses both the heroism of the act and the lingering tension of its consequences. The story embodies the dual nature of fire itself, creative and dangerous, nurturing and destructive, illuminating yet unforgiving. In Polynesian mythology, Maui, the trickster demigod, performs a similarly daring feat. Fire is hidden from humans, locked away by the goddess Mawika, until Maui, through cleverness and perseverance, retrieves it, ensuring warmth and cooking for humankind. The story emphasizes ingenuity and audacity, highlighting the ways humans navigate the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Maui's act is playful yet purposeful, demonstrating that fire is not merely an element, but a symbol of empowerment, a tool that can transform life when approached with skill, respect, and courage. The soft retelling of this myth allows listeners to appreciate the subtle interplay of risk, reward, and the enduring curiosity that drives human action. The raven, in the traditions of indigenous peoples of the Pacific Northwest, is another archetypal firebringer. This clever and mischievous figure travels across the world to acquire fire, often through cunning and unexpected methods. The raven's story differs in tone from the solemnity of Prometheus or the boldness of Maui, leaning instead toward playful subversion. Yet, like other fire myths, it emphasizes the deep connection between humanity and the element, the recognition that fire is both gift and responsibility. The careful pacing of this retelling, with attention to imagery and rhythm, allows the listener to feel the raven's sly movements and the quiet tension of the human need for light and warmth. Across Africa, myths of firebringers often center on animals or semi-divine figures who retrieve flames from remote or dangerous places. In some tales, the cunning hare or clever spider sneaks fire from the sky or the hidden domain of spirits, delivering it to humanity with care and wit. These stories, though separated by geography, share a common theme. Fire is precious, challenging to acquire, and transformative once obtained. The myths invite reflection on the qualities necessary to bridge worlds: cleverness, courage, and a reverent understanding of forces beyond human control. Through soft narration, these qualities are conveyed not with urgency, but with gentle intrigue, creating a calming yet engaging experience for the listener. The repeated motif of firebringers reveals deeper truths about human imagination and culture. These figures embody the tension between risk and reward, daring and caution, the mortal and the divine. They demonstrate that fire is more than an element. It is knowledge, creativity, survival, and inspiration. Each tale, told in a calm, immersive manner, encourages reflection on how humans understand and interact with the world around them, transforming natural phenomena into stories that convey moral and practical lessons. In this way, the myths themselves become tools for guiding thought, subtly teaching respect for power, the consequences of curiosity, and the importance of foresight. In addition to the act of bringing fire, these myths often highlight the consequences of wielding such a potent force. Fire can illuminate a dark world, but can also burn carelessly if mishandled. Prometheus endures endless suffering for his gift. Maui faces trials and challenges to secure fire for humanity, and trickster animals must navigate danger and cunning to achieve their goals. By including both the triumphs and the consequences, these myths gently remind listeners that curiosity and ambition must be tempered by understanding, patience, and respect, a lesson that resonates across cultures and time periods. As we move softly through these stories, it is possible to imagine the first humans receiving fire for the first time. Perhaps they watched the flames rise, casting shadows across the walls of a cave, feeling awe and gratitude, sensing danger and possibility all at once. The firebringers in myth, whether god, demigod, or clever animal, serve as guides for this experience, embodying qualities that are both aspirational and cautionary. They link the human desire for light, warmth, and knowledge with the mysteries of the divine, offering a gentle rhythm of tension and release that is calming and engaging in equal measure. These myths of firebringers are also echoes of a larger cosmic order, a reflection of humanity's fascination with the unknown. They connect the earthly and the celestial, illustrating that fire, wherever it originates, is a bridge between worlds. By contemplating these stories in a calm, reflective voice, the listener is invited to feel the warmth of the flame, the thrill of ingenuity, and the quiet tension of consequence, all while drifting gently toward relaxation. In doing so, the myths achieve their timeless purpose: to illuminate, to teach, and to inspire, not with alarm, but with quiet wonder. As this section concludes, the listener is prepared to look beyond the clever and daring firebringers toward the natural phenomena that mirror these myths: falling stars, meteors, and a celestial fire that streaks across the night sky. The soft, measured exploration of these figures lays the groundwork for the next section, where fire in the heavens meets fire on earth in a dance of mystery, awe, and quiet contemplation. In the gentle glow of these ancient tales, one can sense the warmth of human curiosity and the eternal flame of imagination, bridging worlds in both story and spirit. As the firebringers illuminate the earth, so too do streaks of light from the heavens capture human imagination, evoking awe, fear, and wonder. Meteors, comets, and falling stars have fascinated humanity for millennia, blazing briefly across the night sky like fiery arrows shot from an unseen hand. Ancient peoples, observing these sudden, brilliant lights, wove stories to make sense of the fleeting and unpredictable. Each streak of fire became a sign, a message, or a mirror reflecting the human desire to understand forces larger than ourselves. In this quiet exploration, listeners are invited to follow these celestial sparks, seeing them not only as natural phenomena, but as symbols of mystery, destiny, and the unknown. In many Native American traditions, falling stars were believed to carry messages from spirits or gods, signaling change, guidance, or warning. Among the Ojibwe, for example, shooting stars were thought to be spirits traveling across the sky, sometimes delivering advice or foretelling important events. The suddenness of a meteor's appearance, its rapid movement, and the way it vanished as quickly as it arrived all contributed to a sense of wonder and reverence. As we softly recount these myths, we sense the contrast between the permanence of the night sky and the fleeting brilliance of these fiery visitors, a contrast that mirrors the dual nature of human experience, between transient moments and enduring truths. In East Asia, comets and meteors were often seen as omens, heralds of change or disruption. Ancient Chinese astronomers meticulously recorded the paths of bright comets, noting their appearance alongside significant historical events. The celestial fire became intertwined with human history, a reminder that the heavens are not separate from the human world but active participants in its unfolding. In Japan, too, falling stars could be interpreted as divine signals, guiding choices, predicting fortunes, or warning of unseen dangers. In each culture, the same phenomenon, the sudden, radiant streak across the sky, was given context, meaning, and narrative, transforming observation into story and story into reflection. Mesoamerican civilizations also imbued meteors with significance, interpreting their fiery descent as omens of great events or celestial intervention. The Aztecs, for instance, associated comets with the will of gods, understanding them as sparks of divine communication. Meteors were seen as threads connecting the heavens to the earth, bridging the cosmic and the human. Even the briefest meteor carried weight, a fleeting yet potent reminder of the vast, mysterious forces governing existence. This narrative, shared softly and slowly, allows listeners to feel the awe and quiet curiosity that ancient observers must have experienced, gazing skyward with wonder and reverence. In Greek and Roman traditions, meteors were sometimes considered fiery arrows shot by the gods, messages from Olympus sent to intervene in human affairs. The sudden, unexpected light symbolized divine attention, a reminder that the celestial realm is ever watchful and intertwined with human destiny. Meteors were interpreted as signs of war, triumph, or change, and myths grew to explain their patterns, trajectories, and appearances. The contrast between the ordinary night sky and the extraordinary sudden blaze of fire captures the imagination, inspiring stories that are both comforting in their explanation and thrilling in their unpredictability. Even in African mythologies, falling stars have deep significance. Some cultures believed meteors were spirits crossing between worlds or ancestral beings visiting the living in the form of fiery streaks. These interpretations, like those in other cultures, reflect the human impulse to find meaning in what is sudden, unpredictable, and beyond immediate comprehension. The brilliance of a meteor against the night sky becomes not only a spectacle, but a narrative device, conveying lessons, warnings, or hope to those who take notice. In contemplating these stories gently, we can appreciate the interplay between permanence and ephemerality. The night sky may seem eternal, filled with countless stars and celestial bodies. Yet meteors remind us of fleeting moments that can capture attention and stir emotion in an instant. Ancient myths translate this ephemeral brilliance into narrative, making sense of the temporary in ways that are both comforting and thought-provoking. By viewing meteors as symbols rather than mere objects, listeners can experience the quiet tension of anticipation, the thrill of observation, and the reflection that arises from witnessing something both beautiful and transient. There's also a subtle symbolism in the metaphor of a flaming arrow descending from the heavens. It evokes movement, purpose, and trajectory, a story in motion. Each meteor carries not just light, but intention, connecting the cosmic and the earthly, the known and the unknown. The fleeting blaze can inspire hope, signal change, or warn of unseen forces, reminding us of the delicate balance between human understanding and the mysteries of the universe. This duality, gently presented, fosters curiosity while maintaining a calming rhythm, ideal for bedtime listening. As we drift softly through these myths, it is easy to imagine ancient observers lying beneath a vast, star-filled sky, eyes lifted, hearts stirred by sudden streaks of fiery light. Perhaps they saw messages from ancestors, signs of impending events, or simply the awe-inspiring beauty of the unknown. These meteors, though brief, left lasting impressions, becoming sparks for stories that would be passed down through generations. In recounting these tales, we experience a quiet echo of that wonder, a meditation on the human impulse to find meaning, to weave narrative from observation, and to connect earthly life with the vast cosmos above. Through falling stars and meteors, listeners can sense the continuity of human curiosity. From ancient civilizations to modern observers, the sky remains a canvas upon which stories of fire, fate, and mystery are painted. The myths of fiery arrows, sudden lights, and celestial sparks remind us that wonder can be both fleeting and eternal, ephemeral yet profoundly meaningful. Each streak across the heavens, though gone in a moment, becomes part of a timeless narrative, linking human imagination with the vastness of the cosmos. By the close of this section, we see how meteors and falling stars connect to previous myths of firebringers, celestial flames, and sacred fires. They are tangible signs of the celestial fire that continues to inspire humanity, bridging the earth below and the sky above. In this gentle contemplation, listeners are invited to feel the thrill of fleeting brilliance and the calm of reflective observation, preparing the mind for the next meditative bridge, where the whispers of night and sky merge into quiet wonder. There is a quiet moment between the warmth of the hearth and the brilliance of the stars, a pause in which human imagination lingers, listening to the soft whisper of fire. It is here, in this liminal space, that myths of fire begin to breathe in a different way, connecting earthly experience with celestial mystery. The crackle of flames, the subtle warmth against the skin, and the shifting shadows all become invitations to reflect, to imagine, and to feel the presence of forces both familiar and unknowable. In this gentle bridge, fire is more than an element. It is a guide, a companion, and a messenger linking the tangible with the intangible. Across cultures, This whispering of fire is recognized in rituals, stories, and symbols. The act of tending a flame, adding kindling, watching sparks dance upward, and feeling the heat on one's hands, mirrors the attention given to cosmic events. When a meteor streaks across the sky or the sun rises in golden brilliance, there is a parallel between human engagement with hearth and humanity's gaze toward the heavens. Both are acts of noticing, of being present, of recognizing the subtle power and beauty of light. In this way, fire serves as a bridge, connecting humans to the world around them, to the cycles of nature, and to the quiet pulse of the universe. Many myths emphasize this connection explicitly. Trickster figures who steal fire often navigate between worlds, moving from divine realms to human homes, from hidden places to open spaces, symbolizing the permeability of boundaries. Similarly, celestial events, interpreted as messages or omens, draw attention to the intimate link between sky and earth. In recounting these stories slowly, listeners can sense the delicate balance that ancient cultures sought to maintain. Curiosity tempered with reverence, action balanced with reflection, the ephemeral nature of sparks and shooting stars contrasted with the enduring light of tradition and memory. The whisper of fire is also a metaphor for inner illumination. Just as fire provides warmth and light to the external world, it is imagined as igniting understanding, courage, and creativity within the human mind. Ancient myths often portray this internal flame as a gift or a revelation, one that can guide, comfort, and inspire. By listening quietly, we can experience the same calm reflection, allowing imagination to drift freely between concrete experience and the ethereal mysteries of the sky. This gentle rhythm, like the soft crackling of a fire or the slow arc of a meteor, nurtures both curiosity and serenity. In indigenous and African traditions, fire is sometimes described as a living being that carries intention, teaching those who tend it to move carefully and thoughtfully. The same metaphor extends to cosmic fire, reminding humans that the stars above, like the flames below, have rhythms, patterns, and purposes that reward patience and attention. Observing these dualities fosters a quiet mindfulness, an understanding that light, whether fleeting or constant, can guide both action and contemplation. The bridge between worlds becomes a space for meditation, where myth and observation, imagination and reality coexist harmoniously. As listeners drift through this reflection, it is possible to imagine themselves sitting beside a small flame, feeling its gentle warmth, while above, the stars shimmer silently. The same fire that illuminates the room mirrors the celestial fires far away, whispering of connection, continuity, and the subtle interplay of forces that shape life. There is no rush, no urgency, only the soft presence of light, the gentle arc of myth, and the quiet invitation to wonder. This bridge encourages the mind to linger in contemplation, feeling the resonance of fire both earthly and cosmic, while preparing for deeper exploration into the stories, rituals, and mysteries that follow. In this moment, we sense the soft pulse that links all myths of fire, a reverence for energy, curiosity about the unknown, and a recognition of the fragile balance between warmth and danger, knowledge and mystery. It is a pause, a meditation, and a gentle transition, leading naturally into the next section, where the narrative continues to explore the intricate dance of fire, sky, and human imagination. Through this bridge, the listener is invited to slow the mind, feel the rhythm of myth, and follow the quiet whisper of fire between worlds. As we move from the gentle whisper of fire to the brilliance of the heavens, the sky itself becomes a stage for cosmic conflict, where light and shadow engage in a silent, awe-inspiring dance. Ancient cultures frequently interpreted celestial phenomena as battles between gods, spirits, or elemental forces, projecting human struggles onto the vast canvas above. Meteors, comets, eclipses, and lightning were not merely natural occurrences. They were imbued with meaning, understood as symbols of divine tension, warnings, or signs of change. The narratives of these conflicts allowed humans to conceptualize forces far beyond their control while providing a rhythm of story that is both calming and captivating when recounted in a soft, reflective tone. In Norse mythology, the heavens are filled with tension and fire, most vividly represented by the fire giants of Muspelheim and the prophesied battle of Ragnarok. These giants, embodiments of chaotic fire, threaten the ordered cosmos, destined to clash with gods and humans alike. Meteors streaking across the night sky were often perceived as glimpses of this fiery conflict, fragments of cosmic energy reaching down to Earth. The Norse stories remind listeners of the duality inherent in fire, a destructive, unpredictable force, yet one that exists as part of a larger balance. The myths were less about fear and more about understanding, providing a framework through which ancient peoples could reconcile the majesty and unpredictability of the skies with the rhythm of human life below. Across the Mediterranean, Greek myths similarly project conflict onto the heavens. Zeus, wielding thunder and lightning, can be seen as a manifestation of celestial fire in moments of wrath or judgment. Battles among gods, their clashes producing storms and meteors, mirror human struggles, reflecting moral and ethical tensions. These myths transform chaotic natural events into stories of consequence, allowing listeners to process awe and apprehension through narrative. The calm pacing of retelling such stories helps absorb their power without overwhelm, creating a gentle engagement with the drama of the cosmos. In East Asian traditions, celestial conflicts are often woven into the cycles of time and seasonal change. Comets, eclipses, and unusual celestial alignments were interpreted as signs of imbalance, portents of war, or the intervention of spirits. Ancient Chinese records meticulously document such phenomena, linking cosmic fire with earthly events, from changes in leadership to social upheavals. These interpretations serve as a reminder that fire in the sky, while distant, is intimately tied to human perception and understanding. Retelling these stories with measured, soothing cadence allows listeners to contemplate the underlying patterns of myth and history without urgency, drifting gently through both wonder and reflection. Even indigenous traditions incorporate celestial conflict into narratives of fire and transformation. Among the Pacific Northwest peoples, the raven not only brings fire to humanity, but sometimes contends with other beings in the process, navigating challenges that echo in the heavens above. Meteors and comets can symbolize these struggles, the sky reflecting the complex interplay of cleverness, courage, and cosmic forces. By softening the language and pacing of these tales, listeners are invited to experience the drama as a narrative rhythm rather than a source of alarm, allowing curiosity and imagination to take the lead. Fire, as both destructive and creative, is a recurring motif in these celestial conflicts. Lightning and meteors, while terrifying in appearance, illuminate, inspire, and mark moments of transformation. Ancient storytellers understood this, embedding lessons in tales of skybound battles. Through narrative, the frightening becomes comprehensible, awe-inspiring yet manageable, and the ephemeral flash of celestial fire becomes a tool for reflection and understanding. The interplay of light and darkness, chaos and order, danger and insight creates a delicate tension that sustains attention while fostering a calm, meditative engagement with the myths. The psychological effect of these myths is profound. By framing celestial phenomena as narratives of conflict and resolution, humans could reconcile the vast unknown with their everyday experience. The sky, though immense and incomprehensible, was translated into familiar patterns of struggle, triumph, and consequence. The duality of fire as both threat and gift is mirrored in the movement of celestial bodies, reinforcing themes present in hearth-centered myths and firebringer tales. Retelling these stories in a soothing, poetic voice allows listeners to immerse themselves fully in the rhythm of narrative, experiencing awe without anxiety, curiosity without fear. In addition, these myths highlight human resilience and adaptability. Gods, spirits, and tricksters who navigate celestial conflicts often act with wisdom, courage, or cunning, teaching subtle lessons about navigating life's challenges. Meteors streaking across the sky may represent fleeting danger or sudden opportunity, encouraging listeners to consider both caution and courage. By observing how ancient cultures interpreted cosmic fire, modern audiences can appreciate the gentle wisdom embedded in these narratives. The need to respect forces beyond control, the power of insight, and the importance of mindfulness in the face of uncertainty. As this section unfolds, listeners are invited to imagine themselves under a starlit sky, where meteors streak silently, lightning flashes softly in memory, and the heavens echo with ancient tales of fire and struggle. The cosmic dance is both distant and intimate, its rhythm resonating with human experience while inspiring reflection and wonder. The myths of celestial conflicts bridge the worlds of imagination and observation, providing a meditative lens through which to appreciate the balance of chaos and order, light and shadow, danger and beauty. By the end of this section, the listener is prepared for the next gentle exploration, the blending of fire, sky, and human ritual, where myths manifest in ceremonies, sacred flames, and nighttime contemplation. The celestial battles, though dramatic in essence, have been softened into a rhythm of awe and curiosity, creating a perfect transition into narratives that celebrate harmony, reverence, and the enduring human connection to both fire and sky. The gentle cadence of these myths allows the mind to rest while curiosity remains engaged, setting the stage for deeper immersion into the ancient mysteries that continue to inspire wonder. After exploring the dramatic conflicts of the heavens, it is natural to return to a softer, more intimate space, a quiet interlude where fire is no longer a weapon or a message, but a companion and a guide. Ancient peoples across the world have long used fire in rituals of reflection, remembrance, and meditation, transforming its energy into acts of reverence. Around the hearth in sacred temples or on ceremonial altars, fire serves as a bridge between the mundane and the divine, offering warmth, light, and a gentle invitation to contemplate life, the cosmos, and the unseen forces that guide both. This section draws attention to the subtle, contemplative side of fire, encouraging listeners to feel its presence with calm curiosity and reverence. In many indigenous cultures, fire ceremonies mark the passage of seasons, the cycles of life, and the transitions between states of being. Flames are kindled with care, chants and songs accompany their flicker, and participants engage in quiet observation and meditation. Each spark becomes symbolic, representing energy, guidance, and continuity. The soft repetition of ritual acts mirrors the gentle rhythm of the natural world, reinforcing human connection to both earth and sky. By describing these rituals slowly and poetically, listeners can imagine the tactile warmth of flames, the crackle of kindling, and the serene cadence of a shared human tradition, fostering a sense of calm and mindfulness. In Hindu tradition, the sacred fire, or Agni, plays a central role in ceremonies ranging from weddings to daily offerings. Agni is understood as a mediator between humans and gods, carrying prayers to the heavens while transforming offerings into blessings. The careful tending of the flame, the rhythmic chanting, and the soft gestures of devotion all cultivate a reflective atmosphere, emphasizing the gentle power of fire as a connector of worlds. Even for a modern listener, imagining this serene ritual can evoke warmth, safety, and a meditative focus, offering a perfect lullaby-like rhythm for contemplation. Across Africa, fire rituals often center on community and continuity. The interplay of fire and sky reveals recurring themes, cycles, transformation, and the bridging of worlds. Fire in the hearth mirrors solar energy. Sacred flames echo celestial radiance. The fleeting brilliance of meteors parallels the sparks of human insight. Myths, in their gentle repetition and poetic rhythm, guide the mind to recognize patterns, reflect on contrasts, and sense continuity across time and space. As listeners internalize these connections, they experience both intellectual engagement and meditative serenity, a duality that embodies the essence of sleep-friendly storytelling. Human imagination emerges as a central thread in this reflection. By projecting hopes, fears, and curiosity onto fire and sky, ancient cultures created frameworks to understand both the known and the unknown. Stories of Prometheus, Maui, R.A., Huitzilopochtli, and Amaterasu demonstrate that imagination, curiosity, and observation are inseparable from human experience. They transform natural phenomena into meaningful narratives, offering lessons about resilience, patience, creativity, and the beauty of cycles. In gently retelling these myths, listeners are invited to inhabit the same reflective space, exploring both the stories and their own responses to light, shadow, and mystery. The rhythm of these narratives is crucial. By balancing dramatic mythic tales with quiet meditative passages, the storytelling mirrors the natural cycles of energy and rest. Moments of celestial conflict contrast with intimate hearth rituals. Cycles of solar movement blend with contemplative observation of sacred flames. This cadence allows the mind to drift gently, absorb insights, and engage with mystery without tension or alarm. The structure itself becomes a metaphor for the patterns embedded in the myths. The balance of light and dark, motion and stillness, curiosity and calm. As this reflection deepens, listeners are invited to imagine themselves beneath a star-strewn sky, seated by a softly glowing fire, feeling warmth, watching light dance across surfaces, and sensing the gentle pulse of the universe. The myths, rituals, and observations encountered throughout the journey converge into a seamless meditation, a reminder that human creativity, reverence, and imagination are intertwined with natural and cosmic patterns. In this serene space, knowledge and wonder coexist, curiosity and calm are harmonized, and the mind is prepared to rest while remaining quietly engaged. Ultimately, the embers of fire and the light of the heavens become symbols of continuity and reflection. They encourage an understanding that life is composed of cycles, moments of brilliance, and periods of quiet observation. Just as flames flicker and stars move across the sky, human thought and imagination ebb and flow, connecting past, present, and future. By witnessing these patterns, listeners are gently reminded of their place in the broader tapestry of existence, fostering a sense of connection, gratitude, and peaceful contemplation. After the quiet interlude of ritual and reflection, our attention returns to the vastness of the sky, where fire and celestial light mark the passage of time itself. Across cultures, the sun and its associated flames have been central to myths explaining day, night, seasons, and the cycles of life. These narratives blend observation with imagination, portraying the sun as both a physical force and a spiritual guide. By exploring these myths in a calm, poetic voice, listeners can experience the rhythm of time as both predictable and mysterious, comforting and awe-inspiring, perfectly suited for a sleep-friendly journey through history and myth. In ancient Egypt, the sun god Ra journeys across the sky each day in his solar bark, carrying light and life to the world below. His journey is both literal and symbolic. It explains the cycle of day and night, the changing seasons, and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. At dusk, Ra descends into the underworld, battling serpents and darkness before rising again at dawn, ensuring continuity and balance. This myth illustrates a deep human desire to understand natural cycles, using the imagery of fire and celestial light to make the passage of time tangible and meaningful. When recounted gently, Ra's daily voyage becomes a meditation on resilience, renewal, and the quiet rhythm of life itself. In Hindu tradition, Surya, the sun deity, traverses the sky each morning in a radiant chariot drawn by 7 horses, representing the days of the week or the spectrum of light. His movement symbolizes energy, vitality, and the ongoing flow of time, linking cosmic cycles to human life and seasonal rhythms. Observing these patterns, ancient people found both reassurance and guidance, seeing in the predictable path of the sun a reflection of order, purpose, and continuity. By highlighting these gentle lessons, the myths create a calming narrative, inviting listeners to align their thoughts and breath with the rhythm of the cosmos. Mesoamerican cultures also recognize the sun's cyclical power, often incorporating it into elaborate calendars and mythologies. The Aztecs, for example, worshipped Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, whose daily journey across the sky represented the eternal struggle against darkness. Rituals, sacrifices, and ceremonies reinforced this cosmic rhythm, intertwining human life with celestial patterns. Observing and honoring the sun's path was both practical and spiritual, teaching a balance between human activity and cosmic order. Retelling these myths in a soft, measured tone allows listeners to absorb the sense of harmony and continuity without the weight of ritual obligation, fostering calm reflection and gentle curiosity. Even in Japanese mythology, Amaterasu, the sun goddess, plays a pivotal role in maintaining the balance of light and life. Her retreat into a cave, causing darkness over the earth, and her subsequent emergence restore order and illumination. This story emphasizes the cyclical nature of time and the dynamic interplay between presence and absence, light and shadow. The myth also conveys subtle lessons about patience, anticipation, and the inevitable return of warmth and clarity, providing a soothing narrative for listeners drifting into rest. The duality of fire and sun, both destructive and sustaining, appears in countless cultures. Lightning, meteors, and solar flares are interpreted as extensions of these cycles, reminders of power, impermanence, and renewal. Ancient myths often frame these phenomena as teachers, symbols of cosmic order, or gentle guides through life's rhythms. By softening the language and pacing, these narratives can evoke wonder without alarm, allowing listeners to reflect on the passage of time, the constancy of cycles, and the quiet, sustaining energy of fire in all its forms. Seasonal change, intimately tied to solar movement, is another recurring theme. Solstices, equinoxes, and lunar phases were celebrated, observed, and mythologized, turning natural rhythms into opportunities for reflection, gratitude, and connection. These celebrations often included fire rituals, bonfires, and offerings, symbolically bridging the gap between human experience and cosmic order. Retelling such stories gently allows the mind to drift with the rhythm of time, integrating observation, imagination, and introspection into a seamless, soothing narrative. Through these myths, we can also perceive the interplay of light and darkness as a metaphor for human experience. Day follows night, warmth follows cold, and the predictable return of the sun mirrors resilience, hope, and the quiet passage of life. By framing these cycles through myth, ancient cultures provided not only explanations but also comfort, teaching that even in darkness, light will return and that the energy of fire, whether in the hearth, the sun, or a distant star, remains constant and guiding. Listeners, guided by this narrative, can imagine themselves beneath a vast sky, watching the sun rise and set, feeling the warmth of its light, and sensing the quiet rhythm of its journey. The stories create a soft pattern of reflection, connecting human life with cosmic cycles, blending observation with imagination, and inspiring both awe and serenity. The sun's eternal path becomes a gentle meditation, a lullaby of cosmic fire, perfectly attuned to sleep-friendly listening. As this section concludes, the listener is prepared to move from the cycles of celestial fire into the intimate, human-centered stories of sacred flames, rituals, and inner illumination that follow. The narrative has established both scale and rhythm, grounding cosmic phenomena in familiar human experience, and fostering a calm, meditative connection between fire, sky, and the passage of time. After tracing the vast cycles of the sun and celestial fire, it is fitting to pause and return to the intimate glow of sacred flames. In this quiet interlude, fire becomes more than a cosmic or natural phenomenon. It transforms into a spiritual presence, a vessel for contemplation, reflection, and inner illumination. Across cultures, humans have recognized that tending to fire, whether in temples, hearths, or ceremonial altars, offers a gentle pathway to mindfulness, grounding, and connection with forces beyond the self. The soft crackle of flames, the flickering of shadows, and the subtle warmth against the skin create a sensory rhythm that guides both body and mind into quiet awareness. In Hinduism, the sacred fire, Agni, is central to rituals of devotion and meditation. Agni is both messenger and witness, carrying prayers to the divine while offering a meditative focus for worshippers. The act of tending the flame, arranging kindling, adding incense, and chanting softly, mirrors a gentle inner discipline, fostering awareness, calm, and serenity. Each spark becomes a point of reflection, a reminder of both the fragility and the enduring energy of life. By recounting these practices in a soothing, immersive voice, listeners can sense the quiet rhythm of devotion, imagining themselves enveloped in the meditative glow of sacred fire. In Buddhist traditions, fire serves as a symbol of transformation and impermanence. Butter lamps, lit in temples and shrines, illuminate statues and altars, their gentle flicker representing clarity, wisdom, and the transient nature of existence. The soft glow encourages silent reflection, inviting observers to consider both the passage of time and the continuity of consciousness. Narrating these practices in a calm, deliberate pace allows the mind to follow the flame's arc, absorbing its gentle warmth and contemplative rhythm. The listener is invited to experience the meditative essence of fire, recognizing its power to both illuminate and transform inner perception. Even in indigenous and African traditions, fire is central to communal and spiritual reflection. Fires are kindled during ceremonies of remembrance, seasonal change, and guidance, often accompanied by whispered prayers, soft chants, or contemplative silence. Participants engage with the flame attentively, observing its movement, its heat, and its dance of light and shadow. In these quiet rituals, fire becomes a mirror of human life, bright yet fleeting, gentle yet potent, unpredictable yet familiar. Through the soft retelling of these rituals, listeners can feel the warmth of shared human experience, the comfort of continuity, and the meditative rhythm of attentive presence. The psychological effect of engaging with sacred flames is profound. Observing a flame encourages mindfulness, patience, and a sense of temporal expansion, allowing the mind to slow, settle, and reflect. Ancient myths and practices understood this implicitly, integrating fire into both communal and private acts of contemplation. From hearth to temple to ceremonial bonfire, flames have long provided a gentle anchor, connecting humans to the rhythms of nature, the cosmos, and the inner landscape of thought and emotion. In addition to offering reflection, sacred flames also embody transformation. Just as fire alters the physical properties of what it touches, it symbolizes the capacity for inner change, growth, and understanding. The soft flicker of light illuminates not only space but thought, drawing attention to impermanence, beauty, and the quiet power inherent in observation. The flame becomes a teacher, demonstrating both the necessity of care and the rewards of attentive engagement. By immersing the listener in this meditative space, the narrative fosters a calm, sleep-friendly environment while gently encouraging curiosity and contemplation. The interplay of fire, shadow, and light in sacred rituals mirrors patterns found in celestial myths, linking the intimate human experience to the vastness of the sky. Just as meteors streak fleetingly across the heavens or the sun rises in predictable cycles, the sacred flame moves with a rhythm that is both ephemeral and enduring. By bridging these scales, from personal hearth to cosmic fire. The mind is invited to rest within continuity, finding comfort in the balance between permanence and impermanence, familiarity and mystery. As this luminous pause unfolds, listeners can imagine themselves seated before a quiet flame, feeling its warmth, watching its dance, and sensing its connection to both earth and sky. The ritual of attentive observation creates a gentle focus, blending historical context, cultural richness, and meditative reflection into a single immersive experience. This interlude prepares the mind to transition from intimate sacred fires to the broader exploration of transformation and mythic cycles, where fire, sky, and human imagination continue their delicate interplay. In this meditative space, fire is neither threatening nor hurried. It is a companion, a guide, and a silent teacher. Its warmth encourages reflection, its light nurtures curiosity, and its subtle energy bridges the human and the divine. By lingering in this moment, listeners are invited to absorb the gentle rhythm of myth and history, preparing for the next narrative section where transformation, cosmic patterns, and the cycles of light continue to unfold in a calm, sleep-friendly cadence. From the intimate glow of sacred flames, we now turn to stories that explore fire as a catalyst of transformation, creation, and renewal. Across cultures, myths link fire to the origins of the world, the birth of humanity, and the cycles of life and death. Fire is portrayed as a powerful force that reshapes, purifies, and revitalizes, bridging the earthly and the divine, the tangible and the mysterious. By recounting these narratives gently and with poetic rhythm, listeners are invited to experience both the awe and the calm inherent in the creative power of fire, preparing the mind for contemplation and sleep. In Greek mythology, fire is central to the creation of humanity. Prometheus, the eternal firebringer, not only gifts humans with flame for warmth and survival, but also with the spark of intellect and creativity. Fire, in this sense, is a metaphor for knowledge and transformation, a tool that elevates humanity from mere survival to culture, art, and civilization. The myths remind us that creation is rarely without challenge or consequence. The flame that illuminates also burns, requiring care, attention, and wisdom. Recounted softly, Prometheus's gift becomes a meditation on the delicate balance between power and responsibility, innovation and humility. In Polynesian traditions, Maui's acquisition of fire is similarly transformative. His cleverness in obtaining fire for humans not only provides warmth in cooking, but also symbolizes the awakening of human potential. The flames spark daily life, creativity, and culture, representing a moment of profound change. By narrating this myth with calm, immersive cadence, listeners can sense the quiet wonder of transformation. The way a simple element, once accessed, can alter perception, behavior, and the rhythms of community life. African creation myths often describe fire as a divine element that shapes the world and mediates between heaven and earth. Some traditions tell of animals or deities bringing fire to humanity, initiating not only survival, but cultural development. Fire purifies, illuminates, and energizes life, offering a bridge between the natural and the spiritual. The gentle recounting of these stories highlights both the power and the subtlety of fire, revealing how its presence can guide reflection, inspire creativity, and foster harmony between human beings and the world around them. In Hindu cosmology, fire is a medium of cyclical creation and destruction. Agni and the sacred flames in Vedic rituals embody the transformative energy that sustains and renews the universe. Fire purifies offerings, conveys prayers, and marks transitions, symbolizing the interconnectedness of life, death, and rebirth. By listening to these myths in a soft, deliberate manner, the audience experiences a sense of calm, recognizing fire not as a force of fear, but as a rhythm of renewal that mirrors natural and spiritual cycles. Even in Celtic and Norse traditions, fire represents both destruction and creation. The forge of Hephaestus, the fiery battles of Muspelheim, and the sacred fires of seasonal rituals all emphasize the duality of flame. Fire can tear down, yet it can also construct, illuminate, and transform. Observing these contrasts through a meditative narrative allows listeners to internalize the lessons of balance, understanding that creation and transformation are ongoing processes, often accompanied by tension, patience, and attentiveness. Across these cultures, fire is consistently linked to renewal. Myths depict it as clearing old growth, igniting new life, and sustaining cycles of energy. Fire in ritual and story is rarely static. It moves, dances, transforms, and teaches. By focusing on its transformative qualities, myths encourage reflection on personal and communal growth, the impermanence of existence, and the beauty inherent in cycles of change. Listeners are invited to drift through these concepts with calm curiosity, absorbing insight while experiencing relaxation. Fire's transformative power is also evident in myths of the sun, stars, and celestial phenomena. Meteors, comets, and solar flares are often seen as cosmic catalysts, signaling shifts, change, and renewal. These celestial fires, fleeting yet luminous, remind humanity of the interconnectedness of all things, of the cycles that link the microcosm of human life with the macrocosm of the universe. By weaving celestial phenomena into narratives of transformation, myths provide a gentle reflection on impermanence, continuity, and the sustaining energy of fire across realms. Creation myths, whether cosmic, terrestrial, or human-centered, share common themes. Fire as energy, fire as knowledge, and fire as transformation. In each story, fire mediates between the known and the unknown, shaping both the material and spiritual worlds. The gentle cadence of retelling these tales allows listeners to absorb not only the narrative, but also the reflective rhythm embedded within it. In this way, myths serve as both story and meditation, guiding attention toward the luminous, transformative essence of fire. Through these stories, listeners can imagine fire as both a gentle teacher and a powerful catalyst. In the flicker of flames, the warmth of a hearth, or the streak of a meteor across the sky, one senses transformation, continuity, and renewal. Ancient myths emphasize patience, reverence, and attentive observation, illustrating that change, though sometimes sudden or unpredictable, can also be harmonious and purposeful. The audience is invited to integrate these lessons into their own reflections, feeling the calming, restorative energy of fire as it moves through story and imagination. As this section concludes, the listener is prepared to follow fire into the final cycles of myth, where creation, destruction, and celestial patterns converge in quiet contemplation. The narrative's gentle pacing, the soft contrast between light and shadow, and the rhythmic unfolding of transformation set the stage for the next bridge section, encouraging a seamless transition into reflection, meditation, and the concluding insights of the journey. After the vivid tales of fire's transformative power, it is fitting to enter a gentle passage, a space of quiet reflection where myths can be felt as rhythms rather than just stories. This section serves as a bridge, allowing listeners to rest in the soft glow of imagination before exploring the final narratives of celestial and terrestrial fire. Here, fire is experienced not as drama or spectacle, but as a companion to thought and a guide to mindfulness, linking past, present, and future in a continuous, soothing rhythm. The gentle cadence of words encourages calm, reflective attention, perfect for bedtime listening. Across cultures, pauses between cycles of fire and celestial phenomena are as meaningful as the events themselves. Ancient rituals often included moments of silence or quiet observation, recognizing that reflection allows understanding, insight, and connection. In these interludes, the mind is invited to absorb lessons from both natural and mythic cycles, appreciating the balance between action and stillness, light and shadow, creation and repose. Listeners can imagine the warmth of a fire flickering softly, casting gentle shadows, while their attention drifts through centuries of cultural practice and imagination. In indigenous traditions, moments of quiet between ceremonial acts are considered sacred. Observers may sit in silence beside a flame, listening to the crackle of wood or the wind around them, allowing their thoughts to merge with the rhythm of nature. These reflective pauses encourage mindfulness, patience, and a deepened sense of connection with the surrounding world. By presenting these rituals softly and meditatively, listeners can experience a similar tranquility, feeling the gentle pulse of myth and nature flowing together. East Asian practices similarly honor reflection between cycles. In Shinto and Buddhist traditions, pauses between offerings or chants allow the energy of ritual to settle, giving space for insight and contemplation. The quiet interlude is not empty but filled with awareness. The flicker of light, the rustle of leaves, the distant movement of stars overhead. The interplay of fire and sky reveals recurring themes: cycles, transformation, and the bridging of worlds. Fire in the hearth mirrors solar energy. Sacred flames echo celestial radiance. The fleeting brilliance of meteors parallels the sparks of human insight. Myths, in their gentle repetition and poetic rhythm, guide the mind to recognize patterns, reflect on contrasts, and sense continuity across time and space. As listeners internalize these connections, they experience both intellectual engagement and meditative serenity, a duality that embodies the essence of sleep-friendly storytelling. Human imagination emerges as a central thread in this reflection. By projecting hopes, fears, and curiosity onto fire and sky, ancient cultures created frameworks to understand both the known and the unknown. Stories of Prometheus, Maui, Ra, Huitzilopochtli, and Amaterasu demonstrate that imagination, curiosity, and observation are inseparable from human experience. They transform natural phenomena into meaningful narratives, offering lessons about resilience, patience, creativity, and the beauty of cycles. In gently retelling these myths, listeners are invited to inhabit the same reflective space, exploring both the stories and their own responses to light, shadow, and mystery. The rhythm of these narratives is crucial. By balancing dramatic mythic tales with quiet meditative passages, the storytelling mirrors the natural cycles of energy and rest. Moments of celestial conflict contrast with intimate hearth rituals. Cycles of solar movement blend with contemplative observation of sacred flames. This cadence allows the mind to drift gently, absorb insights, and engage with mystery without tension or alarm. The structure itself becomes a metaphor for the patterns embedded in the myths. The balance of light and dark, motion and stillness, curiosity and calm. As this reflection deepens, listeners are invited to imagine themselves beneath a star-strewn sky, seated by a softly glowing fire, feeling warmth, watching light dance across surfaces, and sensing the gentle pulse of the universe. The myths, rituals, and observations encountered throughout the journey converge into a seamless meditation, a reminder that human creativity, reverence, and imagination are intertwined with natural and cosmic patterns. In this serene space, knowledge and wonder coexist, curiosity and calm are harmonized, and the mind is prepared to rest while remaining quietly engaged. Ultimately, the embers of fire and the light of the heavens become symbols of continuity and reflection. They encourage an understanding that life is composed of cycles, moments of brilliance, and periods of quiet observation. Just as flames flicker and stars move across the sky, human thought and imagination ebb and flow, connecting past, present, and future. By witnessing these patterns, listeners are gently reminded of their place in the broader tapestry of existence, fostering a sense of connection, gratitude, and peaceful contemplation. In this moment, fire, light, and observation converge, creating a gentle rhythm of presence, both calming and immersive. This meditative approach provides a soft bridge from the dramatic tales of transformation toward more intimate, concluding stories of fire, sky, and human imagination. Even in European traditions, moments between ritual acts were valued. Celtic and Norse ceremonies often incorporated quiet observation, where participants could absorb the energy of fire, reflect on the passage of time, and sense the presence of unseen forces. These pauses were as important as the visible acts of flame or symbol, teaching that contemplation is integral to understanding and connecting with mythic cycles. Retelling these ideas with a calm, poetic tone allows listeners to slow the mind, aligning thought with the gentle rhythm of flame and narrative. The quiet passage also emphasizes the continuity of myth. Just as fire moves through hearth, ritual, and sky, so too do stories move through cycles of observation, reflection, and imagination. Pausing between cycles allows humans to internalize meaning, linking personal experience with collective cultural wisdom. Listeners, guided by gentle storytelling, can sense how myths, like flickering flames, illuminate in intervals, sometimes bright, sometimes subdued, but always present, guiding understanding and reflection. This reflective interlude encourages attention to subtlety, the warmth of a hearth, the shimmer of a candle, the faint light of stars. In the softness of observation, listeners can feel the interplay of presence and absence, permanence and transience, light and shadow. The mind is invited to rest, wander, and imagine, absorbing the wisdom embedded in stories of fire while embracing stillness and calm. As this bridge section concludes, the listener is prepared to enter the final narratives of the documentary, where the myths of fire and sky converge into broader reflections on mystery, continuity, and human imagination. The gentle passage has allowed space for absorption and contemplation, ensuring that the mind is attuned to the rhythm of narrative, ready to experience the closing sections with a sense of serenity, curiosity, and wonder. As the journey of myths nears its culmination, the narratives of fire, celestial light, and human imagination converge into a tapestry of wonder, reflection, and timeless resonance. Throughout history, humans have projected their experiences, hopes, and fears onto the elements of fire and the movements of the sky, creating stories that blend observation, interpretation, and poetic insight. By gently exploring this convergence, listeners are invited to sense how fire in the hearth, meteors in the night sky, sacred flames, and solar cycles are not separate phenomena, but interconnected expressions of human curiosity and reverence. The final convergence weaves these threads into a calm, immersive experience that nurtures both curiosity and serenity. In many ancient cultures, fire and sky were inseparable in the narratives of creation and sustenance. The Greeks, for example, saw Prometheus's gift of fire as a reflection of the intellect that allows humans to interpret the heavens, predict seasons, and create art and civilization. Similarly, in Egyptian cosmology, Ra's solar bark not only illuminates the world but connects the divine, cosmic order with human life on Earth. Fire, whether literal or symbolic, serves as a conduit, linking the tangible experience of warmth, light, and sustenance with the intangible, profound mysteries of the universe. In this convergence, the myths transform from mere tales into meditative guides, inviting reflection on the unity of all things. Mesoamerican myths illustrate this interplay beautifully. Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, journeys across the sky, embodying the dual power of fire as both life-giving and potentially destructive. Rituals, sacrifices, and ceremonies connect humans to the sun's energy, reminding participants of their place within cosmic cycles. The fleeting brilliance of meteors, interpreted as divine messages or omens, mirrors this duality: sudden, awe-inspiring, and transformative. When retold in a gentle, poetic cadence, these stories convey both the excitement of discovery and the calm reassurance of continuity. allowing listeners to drift through cosmic cycles with ease and curiosity. Indigenous traditions emphasize the unity of sky and fire in ways that feel intimate and meditative. For the peoples of the Pacific Northwest, the raven's clever manipulation of fire is reflected in both earthly lessons and celestial observations. The flame, once captured or released, illuminates not only the physical world but also the imagination, bridging human experience with cosmic rhythm. These myths underscore the role of attention, reverence, and reflection, showing that the act of observing, storytelling, and contemplating fire and sky is itself a sacred and transformative practice. In East Asia, the cycles of celestial fire, comets, meteors, and solar phenomena are intricately linked with ritual, seasonal observation, and moral reflection. The calm documentation of unusual events, coupled with the interpretation of cosmic signals, demonstrates a deep awareness of interconnectedness. Observers understood that patterns in the sky could reflect cycles on Earth, that fire and light, whether in a hearth or high above, carry lessons, guidance, and symbolic resonance. Retelling these myths slowly and poetically allows listeners to experience both the awe of cosmic patterns and the serenity of reflective understanding, creating a unique, sleep-friendly narrative environment. Across all traditions, a common theme emerges. Fire and sky serve as mirrors for the human imagination. Flames, meteors, and solar paths reflect curiosity, creativity, and contemplation. The energy of fire, whether in ritual, in myth, or in observation of celestial phenomena, evokes the desire to understand, to connect, and to find meaning in transient moments. The interplay between human perception and natural forces creates a narrative rhythm that is both calming and intellectually stimulating, perfectly suited for a bedtime journey through history and myth. The convergence of fire and sky is also a convergence of scale. From the intimate hearth to the vast cosmos, from small, fleeting sparks to blazing meteors and the daily rise of the sun, listeners can sense continuity across space and time. Each flame, each streak of light, each myth becomes a point of connection, demonstrating the universal human impulse to observe, interpret, and narrate. In this section, the mind is encouraged to absorb patterns, reflect on contrasts, and recognize the harmony inherent in the universe's rhythms, all within a gentle, meditative flow. Psychologically, the final convergence provides both closure and expansion. The narratives show that human imagination is capable of bridging scales, reconciling mystery with understanding, and finding comfort in continuity. Fire, sky, and story converge into a unified experience of reflection, wonder, and serenity. The listener is gently guided to appreciate the interplay of light and shadow, permanence and impermanence, observation and interpretation, leaving them with a sense of calm curiosity and restful engagement with both history and myth. As this section draws to a close, attention shifts toward preparation for the final reflection. The myths, rituals, celestial events, and cycles of fire have been woven into a coherent, immersive experience. Listeners can sense the underlying connections, how stories of meteors echo sacred flames, how creation myths resonate with solar cycles, and how the imagination transforms observation into meditation. This final convergence ensures that the journey through ancient myths of fire and sky is both intellectually satisfying and emotionally calming, setting the stage for the concluding reflections that bring the documentary full circle. The convergence of these narratives demonstrates that fire is not simply an element, and the sky is not merely a backdrop. Together, they form a dynamic, living canvas on which human imagination has painted its stories for millennia. Observing, narrating, and reflecting on these elements creates a gentle rhythm of wonder, learning, and meditation. The final convergence, therefore, is not an endpoint but a unifying moment, a quiet celebration of curiosity, reflection, and the enduring human connection to both the tangible and the mysterious. As our journey through ancient myths of fire and sky comes to a close, it is fitting to pause, breathe, and reflect on the quiet beauty, mystery, and insight these stories offer. Throughout history, humans have turned their gaze to both the hearth and the heavens, observing flames and celestial phenomena with curiosity, reverence, and imagination. Each spark, each flicker of light, each streak of a meteor or rising sun carries not only physical energy, but symbolic resonance, offering a bridge between the known and the unknown, the tangible and the mysterious. This final reflection invites listeners to absorb the rhythm, wisdom, and serenity embedded in these tales, leaving a lasting sense of calm and wonder. Across cultures, fire has been a teacher, a companion, and a mirror of human experience. In quiet hearths, sacred temples, and ceremonial spaces, fire guides contemplation, illuminates ritual, and nurtures connection, both within communities and between humanity and the cosmos. Ancient myths emphasize that fire is never merely destructive or illuminating. It is transformative, a source of knowledge, inspiration, and continuity. In these gentle narratives, humans learn to respect the duality of fire, its warmth and its power, its capacity to comfort and challenge, its transient glow and enduring presence. As listeners settle into this meditative reflection, they are encouraged to feel the soft pulse of fire's energy, not as alarm, but as a rhythm for thought, imagination, and calm introspection. The sky, too, has long served as a canvas for wonder and storytelling. Meteors, stars, comets, eclipses, and the sun's daily journey across the heavens have been interpreted as signs, messages, and patterns by civilizations across time. The heavens offer both scale and continuity, linking individual human experience with universal rhythms. Ancient observers, through myth and ritual, translated these celestial phenomena into stories of creation, transformation, conflict, and harmony. By exploring these tales slowly and gently, listeners can perceive both the vastness of the cosmos and their intimate connection to it, fostering a sense of awe that is simultaneously calming and grounding. The interplay of fire and sky reveals recurring themes, cycles, transformation, and the bridging of worlds. Fire in the hearth mirrors solar energy. Sacred flames echo celestial radiance. The fleeting brilliance of meteors parallels the sparks of human insight. Myths, in their gentle repetition and poetic rhythm, guide the mind to recognize patterns, reflect on contrasts, and sense continuity across time and space. As listeners internalize these connections, they experience both intellectual engagement and meditative serenity, a duality that embodies the essence of sleep-friendly storytelling. Human imagination emerges as a central thread in this reflection. By projecting hopes, fears, and curiosity onto fire and sky, ancient cultures created frameworks to understand both the known and the unknown. Stories of Prometheus, Maui, Ra, Huitzilopochtli, and Amaterasu demonstrate that imagination, curiosity, and observation are inseparable from human experience. They transform natural phenomena into meaningful narratives, offering lessons about resilience, patience, creativity, and the beauty of cycles. In gently retelling these myths, listeners are invited to inhabit the same reflective space, exploring both the stories and their own responses to light, shadow, and mystery. The rhythm of these narratives is crucial. By balancing dramatic mythic tales with quiet meditative passages, the storytelling mirrors the natural cycles of energy and rest. Moments of celestial conflict contrast with intimate hearth rituals. Cycles of solar movement blend with contemplative observation of sacred flames. This cadence allows the mind to drift gently, absorb insights, and engage with mystery without tension or alarm. The structure itself becomes a metaphor for the patterns embedded in the myths. The balance of light and dark, motion and stillness, curiosity and calm. As this reflection deepens, listeners are invited to imagine themselves beneath a star-strewn sky, seated by a softly glowing fire, feeling warmth, watching light dance across surfaces and sensing the gentle pulse of the universe. The myths, rituals, and observations encountered throughout the journey converge into a seamless meditation, a reminder that human creativity, reverence, and imagination are intertwined with natural and cosmic patterns. In this serene space, knowledge and wonder coexist, curiosity and calm are harmonized, and the mind is prepared to rest while remaining quietly engaged. Ultimately, the embers of fire and the light of the heavens become symbols of continuity and reflection. They encourage an understanding that life is composed of cycles, moments of brilliance, and periods of quiet observation. Just as flames flicker and stars move across the sky, human thought and imagination ebb and flow, connecting past, present, and future. By witnessing these patterns, listeners are gently reminded of their place in the broader tapestry of existence, fostering a sense of connection, gratitude, and peaceful contemplation. As the final embers fade in this narrative journey, the listener is left with a lasting sense of serenity and gentle curiosity. Fire, sky, and human imagination have been intertwined, showing that myths are not merely stories but meditative guides, offering insight, calm, and wonder. The closing reflection emphasizes the timeless resonance of these elements, their capacity to teach, comfort, and inspire, and the enduring human desire to understand, connect, and imagine. In this quiet moment, the journey concludes not with finality, but with the soft continuation of curiosity and reflection, leaving the mind ready to drift into sleep, carrying with it the warmth of fire, the light of the sky, and the gentle glow of ancient wisdom.